Hi, the Lord bless you. The Lord bless you, beautiful souls. Welcome to Kingdom Upgrades YouTube channel. I am your ambassador, Dylan Vogt. Yes, like and subscribe to this channel to hear and know more of our content. In this content, we have to follow after Christ, follow to the other side because Jesus have already crossed over. Christ is on the other side. He is crossed over. So you and I have to follow after him. Yes, we are on the other side already. We have spoken of length on the shift, and it has happened. It's already happened. We are already in pace on a different terrain. On different terrain. Yes, we're pacing different terrain presently. So come on, my God. Excuse me. A terrain is a stretch of land, especially with regard to its physical features. Come on. The terrain that we're pacing has features, literally. Mighty God has features. Come on, get familiar to the features there. It's a new terrain. And Jesus, the Christ, is leading the way. So cross over and follow after him and get comfortable there. Get familiar with that place. Come on. I'm in Mark chapter 8. I'm going to read from verse 1 through to 10. Come on, let's go here. In those days, when there was again a large crowd gathered before him, that is Jesus, and they had nothing to eat, Jesus called his disciples and told them, I feel compassion for the crowd. They have been with me now for 3 days and have nothing to eat, left to eat. If I send them away to their homes hungry, they will faint from exhaustion, right, on the road, because some of them have come a long way. Verse 4. His disciples replied to him, where will anyone be able to find enough bread here in this isolated place to feed these people? Verse 5. He asked them, how many loaves of bread do you have? They said, 7. He directed the people to sit down on the ground and take the 7 loaves. He gave thanks and broke them and gave them to his disciples to set before them. That is to share to the people. And they served the crowd. They also had a few small fish. And when Jesus had blessed them and gave thanks, he ordered these fish to be set before them as well. Verse 8. And the people ate and were satisfied. And they picked up 7 large baskets full of the broken pieces that were left over. About 4,000 men were there besides women and children, and he sent them away. Then immediately he got into the boat with his disciples and went to the district of Del Monte. Come on. So we see here, after Jesus would have finished doing ministry, he crossed over, and because he was on a mission, so he crossed over, they went on another side, they crossed over and went to another territory. So they went and to another place. But what I want to draw attention here to is that Jesus has already crossed over. The Christ is on the other side, and we have to follow after him and get familiar with that terrain, because we have crossed over to the other side. And crossing over speaks literally of moving to another terrain, another place. And we always move to a better place. We don't digress. So Jesus was doing ministry. So he was moving through, right? So as he did deliverance and ministry at one place, he crossed and he went to the other. So he was moving, and everywhere he moved and went to, his disciples went with him. So here we see in verse 2 that he said, I feel compassion for the crowd, because he knew what was happening there. So he knew they were there for long, and the food that they probably walked with would have finished, and he said he felt compassion for them. He feel compassion for them. So when he did that, he called his disciples and tell them what he was feeling, and he wanted to give them something to eat, because Jesus literally felt compassion because he is a God of compassion. He is compassionate. It is because of his compassion, literally, that he was able to do miracles, signs, and wonders. Because he felt compassion. His compassion wanted him to see the people be free and to see them delivered. That is how he was able to do deliverance and do the ministry, because he was compassionate. Come on. Jesus is full of compassion, and he's still full of compassion today. He's a compassionate God. God is compassionate. Come on. So that is how deliverance, signs, wonders, and miracles are able to manifest, because of his compassion. Out of his compassion comes the manifestation of ministry, deliverance, miracles, signs, and wonders. So that is why deliverance is known as a compassionate ministry, because it is the heart of Christ that is being manifested literally, because he wants to see his people free. Okay, so out of compassion comes the manifestation of Christ. So when we have compassion, when we become compassionate, and our compassion is being manifested, we see the manifestation of Christ. We see the character and the nature of Christ being exhibited because of the compassion of Christ that now manifests through us. Come on. So out of compassion comes the manifestation of Christ. Mighty God. The manifestation of Christ comes as a result of compassion and love. That is why the greatest gift is that of love. Because Jesus Christ is love. He's love. He's the love offering. So anything that has to be done effectively and done for God and for Christ has to be done through love. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, I think verse 13, the last verse, said the greatest of the gifts is love. Because love manifests. Love, do you know, the demons cannot handle authentic love? Come on, come on, come on. Where there is authentic love manifest, or where authentic love is, there is no place for darkness and evil, because the demons, the powers of darkness, the forces of hell cannot stand authentic love. Love is a weapon. Come on, mighty God. Love is a weapon. Love is a powerful weapon. Matika Sharabasete. That's why the Lord has poured into our hearts the agape love. We have the love of God poured out in our hearts, because love is a weapon in the kingdom of darkness. Okay, this is why deliverance is a compassionate ministry. It is the heart of Christ being demonstrated. Verse 3, hear what it has to say. If Jesus said, if I send them away hungry, they will faint. So he was considering what will happen to them if he send them away. That is compassion. It is being caring, considerate. You feel for them. He felt for them. He felt pain for them. He knew that if they leave hungry, they will faint along the way. Okay? So the compassion of Christ was exhibited there and demonstrated. And when we have compassion, we look beyond. Come on. Where there is compassion, we look beyond. We're able to see beyond the present. When he confronted his disciples and asked them if they have anything to eat, they could not have seen the possibility of him finding something to feed all these people. But Jesus knew who he was, and he knew who his Father is. So immediately he knew that this is just a word away. This is just a prayer away. Okay? It is just voice activated. You know, he knew that because of his intimacy and his level of connection with his Father, because they were one. They are one. They are one. And when he was doing, they were one. So they're still one, because he is always with his Father. So he knew the connection, and he knew that Just a word, just a prayer away. It is just voice activated for the food to come alive and for him to be able to feed all the people. So his disciples were unable to see that as a possibility. Mighty God. They could not have seen it possible. Okay? But Jesus knew his Father and he understood his assignment. He knew he just needed a bit of whatever was present and he was going to multiply it. Come on. The multiplication would have been possible. All he needed is just a bit of what he needed. And he was able to multiply what was there. Do you know that God is able to multiply your little in this hour? Come on. Are you aware that God is able to multiply your bit in this hour? Mighty God, Lord, I pray a blessing. God, I pray multiplication. Multiplication, God, in this hour. I declare and I decree multiplication in this hour, God, that your faith will come alive. And know that multiplication in this hour is your portion and is a possibility in God. Have your faith being fixed on and in him. Set your gaze on him. And all things will be possible. And all things are possible with God. Okay, so if you're in him, your gaze is on him and your mind is stayed on him. It's possible for you because Jesus' mind was on his Father. He and his Father was one. So he knew that nothing was impossible for him. Whatever he needed, it was just possible. Mighty God. So little is much when God is in it. Come on, little is much when God is in it. So if you have little and God is there, it is much. It can be multiplied. Verse 5. He asked them how many loaves they have. And they just said 7. So Jesus knew that all he needed was a bit. Right? So with that, he instructed the people to sit down. And when he instructed the people to sit down, he blessed it. He prayed and he blessed it. My God, he blessed it. Whatever Jesus blesses, his Father's sanction. Come on. Whatever Jesus blesses, his Father's sanction. And it has the ability to multiply. Come on. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Whatever Jesus blesses and his Father's sanction has the ability to multiply. Come on. Come on. Come on. There was such intimacy and oneness with Jesus and his Father that he knew beyond a shadow of a doubt. He lived under an open heaven when he walked the earth. So he knew that the heaven was open to him. He was cognizant of that. He was aware of that. And he lived in that manner and that fashion. And it is the same for us. When we become cognizant that we are under an open heaven, we live and operate in the manner that will attract what comes as a result of an open heaven, because it is just voice activated. That's our faith need to be aligned, our lives need to be aligned, our hearts. What God is actually doing is positioning us to walk in. There's a different terrain. Come on. Mighty God. And he knew what he had to do, and his Father would sanction. So whatever he had to do, he knew his Father was going to sanction because they were one. Here why Jesus they had any worry here. Let's go to John chapter 5. I'm going to read from verse 18 through to 20. Here was Jesus' equality with God. He even come under attack and was crucified because of him mentioning his equality with God. Come, let's read from verse 18. This made the Jews more determined than ever to kill him. For not only was he breaking the Sabbath from their viewpoint, not only that he broke the Sabbath, that was when he had he did the miracle on the Sabbath day, right? Not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but he was also calling God his own Father. That aggravated them, making himself equal with God. They could not have understood that mystery. It was a mystery. It is a mystery. They could not have understood that mystery, right? So they became angry and aggravated at the fact that he was saying that God is his Father. Verse 19. So Jesus answered them by saying, I assure you, and most solemnly say to you, the Son can do nothing of himself. That's what he was saying to them. The Son can do nothing of himself. He wanted them to understand that what the Son was doing, what he was doing, he was speaking to them figuratively. What he was doing was as a result of God doing it through him and because of God. So he said the Son can do nothing of himself, of his own accord, unless it is something he sees the Father doing. Okay? For whatever things the Father does, the Son also does in the same way. So he was saying to them figuratively that whatever he sees his Father does, that is what he does. Because he is following after his Father. He's just obeying the instructions of his Father. And it was simple as that. So he was following after his Father. He was doing what he saw his Father did. So what his Father did, he saw it and he just come and manifest it. Bring it into manifestation. So his Father was literally revealing to him what he had to do. So he was just coming and manifesting it on earth. Come on. For the Father dearly loves the Son. He was telling them everything figuratively. For as the Father dearly loves the Son and shows him everything that he himself is doing. My God. So you see here, mighty God. John 15:15, Jesus said to us, I call you friend. My God. He is our friend. So it is the same thing. Mighty God. For the Father, For as the Father dearly loves the Son and shows him everything that he himself is doing. And the Father will show him greater works than these, so that you will be filled with wonder. Come on. Come on. So, everything that Jesus did was what he saw his Father doing. And he just came and manifested, because he came to manifest the works of his Father on earth. So he was just portraying, demonstrating what he saw his Father do, because it was already done in the realm of the Spirit. It just has to come into manifestation. See the same thing with us. Whatever we see God do, or whatever God reveals to us that he is doing, and this is being done through the Son. Jesus reveals to us what his Father is doing. That is why he calls us friend. In John 15:15, he calls us friend, because he's revealing to us what he saw his Father doing. So he wants us to know what his Father is doing, and it's the same thing for us. I can say to us, mighty God, mighty God, mighty God. I had several experiences. Let me just share this with us. Several experiences where the Lord, in visions, the Lord showed me things and showed me persons to pray for and situations. And out of that vision, when I got up or I woke up the next day, the Lord will instruct me literally, come on, to go pray for the same person. And then, lo and behold, when you confront the person, you prayed for the person, finish praying for the person, they would end up confessing and testifying of what was happening to them, or what had happened to them. Because in the vision, the Lord will sometimes even show you that the person have a problem or what is happening to them. And when you go, the person will testify to the fact and affirm what you would have said, that it is true. Because it is not a work of flesh, but it's a work of the Spirit of God. So God is revealing to us what needs to be done in earth and on earth. In earth, meaning in earthen vessels, as well as on earth. Come on. So it is the same thing for us. Come on, come on. And here what the latter part of the verse said here. And the Father will show him greater works than these, so that you will be filled with wonder. And to be honest, when those things happen, I am filled with wonder. And it's the same for us. Mighty God. God is awesome. It's an exciting time, and I'm elated because God is faithful, and you just see the manifestation of God all the time. Jesus, 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 Jesus. He only did what he saw his father doing. Awesome. So, mighty God, mighty God, mighty God. Are you doing what your father does? Mighty God. Are you following after Christ and doing what you see him do? Let's go on. If not, start. Pray and start. If not, I pray you start. If not, I pray you start following after Christ and do what you see him do. What he shows you, whatever he says unto you, do it. Because Christ is leading this move. He's leading the way. Come on. It is still not by might. It's not by power, but it is by my spirit, say the Lord of hosts. Mighty God. Equality with God caused the world to hate Jesus. Come on. Mighty God. If you're a friend of Jesus, most definitely you're going to be an enemy to the world. Come on. Come on. Are you a friend of God? Don't be surprised if the world hates you. Get used to be hated by the world. It's time. And don't be distracted by frivolous things. Get used to be hated by the world. If you desire to walk in your greater, get used to be hated by the world. And do not be distracted by frivolous things. Stay your course in God. My God, my God, my God, my God. Hear what verse 8 has to say here. Okay, whatever comes from God satisfies. Whatever comes from God satisfies. Whatever God supplies bring with it satisfaction and fulfillment. Come on. Whatever God supplies brings satisfaction. Also, it brings fulfillment. It is fulfilling. Mighty God, this is beautiful. And verse 10 has to say to us, immediately after he would have finished there with ministry, with that multitude, he crossed over to the other side and his disciples were with him. He and his disciples, verse 10 said, then immediately he got into the boat with his disciples. Here, he got into the boat with his disciples and went to the district of Dalmatia. So it is saying to us, pay attention here. Jesus was moving and doing ministry, and wherever he went, his disciples were with him. Come on. So be sure. His disciples were with him, and you're a disciple of Christ. You need to be following after Christ. You have to be with him in this hour. They cross over. That speaks of another territory, and they were with him. This simply meant his disciples, they were only going where Jesus was going. My God. Come on. They were only going where Jesus was going. Are you his disciple? In this hour, only go where he is going. You definitely need his commission. Come on. You definitely need his commission. Therefore, you will have his presence. In this season, having his presence is vital. Having him in the person of his presence, mighty God, is imperative in this hour. He will manifest. Come on. He will manifest. So it's important that when you're moving, you're going where Jesus is going. Wherever Christ is, you're following after. Because following after him, you will be graced with a person of his presence. So if he did not instruct you to do or go, do not go, because you would not have the person of his presence. We need to be 100% obedient in this hour. We're in different terrain. It's a different time. And it's technical. Mighty God. It is imperative in this hour to follow after Christ, because his presence, the person of his presence will be there, and he will manifest. Come on. He will manifest. He will manifest. He will manifest. The Lord bless you. He will manifest. The Lord bless you. Come your kingdom, God. Come your will. Be done on earth in earthen vessels as you have planned. So God manifest. Come your will. Manifest. Have your way in this hour. In Christ's name. The Lord bless you. Shalom. Shalom.